Is chasing growth in your business killing you? This is a personal story. I was extremely stressed out. I felt enormous pressure from all angles. Revenue had been declining since I bought out my partner 2 years prior. Thankfully, with open book management, we were able to remain profitable most months. When I say most months, I would say 9 out of the 12 months of the year were profitable, and then maybe a small loss. But we were right around break even, nothing too crazy. Anywhere from, I would say, 5 to 10% profit, 12% profit. But the loan payments from the buyout were slowly eating away our cash. So although it looked like we were profitable, our balance sheet and our cash position was getting worse. Slowly, but still, the loan payments were eating away at our cash. On top of the financial pressure, our market was exponentially more competitive than when we got started about 10 or 11 years prior. Getting new clients was way harder than when we first started, just gaining attention. They had many options, many more options and alternatives. At home, my oldest daughter was going into her junior year of high school. So 2 years later, she'd be in college. I was thinking, how was I going to pay for this? I was also thinking, disempowering thoughts like I worked her entire lifetime preparing for this moment. And now with the finish line in sight, I felt like I was losing my footing, kind of running out of gas. Amidst the pressure, I was waking up every morning in a sheer panic. I was having literal panic attacks. I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't control the onslaught of negative thoughts. And this went on for months, and I absolutely hated it. I never had trouble sleeping before, but it turns out, and just looking back on my life and business, whenever my money wasn't right or we were spending more than we were making, that's when I tended to have these panic attacks and really couldn't sleep all that well. So anyway, this went on for months at that time. Meditation, affirmations, breathing exercises, visualization, ice baths, just nothing was helping. Then out of the blue, I woke up one morning, I wrote it in my journal, and there was a thought that brought a smile to my face and kind of gave me this sense of calm and peace, almost as if it was the answer. It was the right way to move forward. The thought was, I run a boring yet extremely profitable business. And like I said, the sound of that just kind of put a smile on my face and put my mind and body at ease. I woke up just with a much different outlook, frame of mind, and my state was just a lot more positive just because of this single thought. There was money coming in at the company. There was over $1.5 million that year in projected top line revenue. And even with the loan payment each month, there was no reason for our cash reserves to be dwindling like this. There was no reason that the cash reserve shouldn't be growing. And then again, in my journal, I realized that the beliefs causing my current situation went something like this. Until I figure out sales and marketing, until I have new clients coming in every month, I don't really have a business. So without kind of constant sales coming in, new business development, I always thought that I didn't really have a business and the business wasn't all that valuable until that happened. And that led to absolutely just stubborn spending on some things, especially right up until that point on advertising, Facebook and Instagram ads. And we were spending between $15,000 and $20,000 a month on these Facebook ads, and which accounted for about 13% of revenue at the time. And it was producing very little, next to nothing. In fact, I think we got one client out of doing these ads, running these ads for nearly a year. One client signed with us, and then shortly after paused her campaign because she had an issue with the previous provider. She couldn't get out of a contract. So nothing that we did wrong, but just so happens that the one client that we did sign from these ads and from this money paused almost immediately after starting. And then to make matters worse, this heavy focus on advertising and this, spending 15 to 20 grand a month on top of the money that we were spending on our loan payment, restricted what we could spend elsewhere in the company. So, for example, back into our clients. So it was restricting the results we were getting, and back into our own website, back into new content and SEO for that website. And after all, we were an SEO agency, so we should have been kind of practicing what we preached more and using SEO before turning to Facebook ads and Instagram ads, but that's what it was at the time. So let's look at this a different way. How much revenue would we have to bring in to equal $200,000 that we just cut out of sales and marketing? That was our approximate annual spend that we overnight cut out. Using 20% as net profit, right? So let's say we bring in $1 million, 20% profit would be what? And then the other way around, let's say we had $200,000 in expense that we no longer was going out. If it was a 20% profit, what would be the equivalent revenue that we'd have to bring in to make that $200,000 in net profit? And at 20% profit, I think it's obvious, but it's $1 million in revenue at 20% profit would make up that 200K. If we were using a 10% net profit number, that number would be even higher. So which is probably closer to our profit number, at the time before making this cut. But anyway, if we were using a 10% net profit number, that would mean an equivalent top line revenue of $2 million because it's 200,000 times 10 to get the equivalent revenue. So thinking about how much revenue it would take to replace the same money in an expense, isn't that always just absolutely shocking? Because expenses are not only expenses. They are worth way more, is what this exercise shows you, is that expenses are worth way more in top line revenue and actual money into the top line, into the company, than you're probably led to believe. And $1 is not $1. $1 is usually $10 to replace that dollar. I love this exercise because it tells me clearly whether we should be spending money on something or not. And obviously, in this case, the answer was no. So we immediately paused these Facebook and Instagram ads and the agency that was running those ads. And after redirecting some of that money towards our clients and our own website, so it wasn't a pure savings of $200,000 because we moved some of that money into other things, but we still saw a net savings of roughly $140,000 per year. And the funny thing is, the $60,000 that we moved into our clients and website would eventually improve client retention and attract more new clients than those social media ads did. This reminds me of a quote that my dad used to say all the time when we were in the restaurant business together prior to my marketing agency. The best advertising is putting money back into the tables. So the best advertising is putting money back into your tables. The meaning of this is because happy clients attract more happy clients, and as opposed to it's very expensive to go out and find new clients, and much less expensive. You get much more return on your investment if you're investing it in your current clients, people that are already buying from you. So not only were we saving $140,000 over $1 million in revenue equivalent, if we do the formula, so that's over $1 million in revenue that we'd have to bring in to equate to $140,000. We were saying, so not only were we saving $140,000 as an expense or over $1 million in revenue equivalent, we were also stabilizing and growing revenue. So I want you to just kind of think about this. It's also related to what my wife always says, like, live below our means. spend less than you make. So just ask yourself, where am I spending money with little or nothing to show for it? How much is that costing me in revenue equivalent? So based on your current profit level. Or if you're not profitable, take what you think the industry profit should be, and then use that to come up with the revenue equivalent of that cost that you're considering cutting or not. How much am I allocating to new business development? What has been the return on that investment? And what percentage of revenue are we allocating to new business development? Is that taking away from other things, other important things like delivering for clients or getting your own house in order? Would focusing more on our current clients and less on new sales improve client retention, attract new clients, and or improve profitability? So these all have to go into the decision-making process and the analysis when you're looking at some of these expenses that are going out the door. Moving on, if I relaxed a little on the drive to sign new clients every month, would that improve my finances and quality of life? I mean, if it improves quality of life and finances, it's definitely something to consider. And I just want to close out with a quote that I thought in that day. I wrote it down in my journal when I woke up that morning having that thought, is boring and profitable is better than stressful and losing money. I think any day of the week, I'd take boring and profitable over stressful and losing money. So if going after new business is stressing you out and causing you to lose money, definitely something we should consider adjusting or reallocating. So let's build a war chest. Then we can consider testing out new business development strategies. Let's test new strategies out of the surplus from our strategies that are already working. Jean-Baptiste Say, who is a French economist who first coined the word entrepreneur in about 1800, said, "The entrepreneur shifts economic resources out of an area of lower and into an area of higher productivity and greater yield." And that's exactly what we're doing here, is we're looking at what expenses, what investments are not yielding what they should be yielding, and moving them into areas of higher productivity and greater yield. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. This is something from my my personal and business life that I was thinking about today, and I thought I'd share with you here in a video format. All right, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you enjoyed. Yeah, leave a comment, like the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot, guys.